Hi, roofing professionals, and welcome back to the Roofing Webmasters podcast. I'm Madison. Today, we have with us a special guest. We have Shabnam Kuraishi. She is one of our spunky content writers here at the Webmasters. Say hi, Shabs.
Hi, guys.
Now, we're going to be digging into the content creation process, and I wanted to get Shab's viewpoint of it. Since she's one of our valued and experienced and has some very great insight into the creation process.
Well, thank you. That's flattering.
Now, Shabs, before we get started on the process itself, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. All right. I graduated with a degree in anthropology.
Anthropology?
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
Yeah, good connection right there. And since then, I did social media marketing and blogs for various businesses.
That's really cool. One of the things I found with our group, people come from different backgrounds, and some will have been writing for since they were in the 4th grade, and others I just started doing it, a few years ago, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that anthropology background, because it definitely flavors your writing. It makes it so interesting. Now, how long have you been writing now?
I'd say professionally about 2 years, yeah.
About 2 years, okay. And I've definitely gotten to enjoy reading some of your work, which is why I'm happy to have you with us.
Oh, cool.
Now, let's start digging into your process for writing, and let's start on a micro level.
Okay.
Let's say a single page. You're on a roofing client's website, and you're just starting to plan it out, and you're on a single page roof installation. Can you take us through your process of developing that page?
Sure. Well, first we're going to try to get some topics that are relevant to roof installation, like maybe materials or the services that they have regarding roof installation with materials. So you're going to form a skeleton without really fleshing it out yet with the SEO and keywords, as well as any links that you want to put in there. And then you're going to start doing some research in order to put some background information from that skeleton.
I like that. So you already know a general idea of where you're going to go on the page before you really start writing.
Yes, I think that's essential.
Oh yeah, that's definitely so. Now, with our writing, we kind of go in with 2 different goals. One, we talk about, SEO, which is what we're known for here at the Webmasters, but we also want to develop a really quality writing or reading experience for whoever's visiting the website.
Sure.
Now, let's say you're going through and you're looking at the site. How do you try to maximize that conversion potential? Or I should say, how do you turn prospects into leads and sales?
All right. Well, it goes with the style of writing. You are essentially doing sales marketing, web marketing as well. So you want to provide the list of services that are relevant with that company and sort of put that in the forefront and put a call to action for them to contact the company if they have any questions regarding services and anything like that.
Okay. And what makes a good call to action?
I would say putting in the phone number links somewhere in the intro as well as the outro of the page, or you can also put it sporadically throughout the page just as a reminder, but you don't want to bog it down too much. Okay,
so you have people, they're just looking for information and looking for a phone number. They can find out at the beginning, or they make it all the way through the page and okay, I'm sold, let's call the number.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can also hyperlink to the contact us page that might have more info.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, dialing it back here for a second, we mentioned 2 goals that we go in. We have SEO and we have a solid reading experience. I find a lot of different roofing company websites out there have really strong difficulties with balancing the 2. Do you ever face that difficulty? Is that a real challenge to get the right mix of the 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say at first you're just developing your voice and you don't know how to incorporate the SEO, which can sometimes be robotic or grammatically incorrect. So what you want to try to do is just match the grammar, try to flow it in seamlessly, and keep that sales voice or the encouraging voice for the customer to contact them.
Okay. So you've definitely talked a lot about the textual elements like, voice and grammar and consistency in your tone.
Yes.
But there's a lot of elements that go on to any given service page, including some that aren't within the text itself. What would you say are the most important non-text based elements on the page?
I would say the most important besides text would be formatting the page, putting in some page breaks, as well as some images. That way there's more things to see, like when you're looking at the viewpoint of a screen and it's not just one line or one page of text. You want there to be some interest.
Oh, that's really good. I've seen so many websites where you can tell it wasn't written by a content writer because it's all this one solid wall of text going down. And
there's a lot.
3 sentences in, you're like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, your patience is gone.
Yeah. Actually, that leads perfectly into our next question here. There is an ongoing saying, pretty popular these days, and a big problem, especially in email marketing and writing. It's TLDR, which stands for, as you probably know, too long, didn't read. Now, getting people to actually sit down and read through an entire page can be a real challenge, especially when they're pressed for time.
Exactly.
So what do you do to try to combat that TLDR, that urge to jump off the page and look elsewhere?
Sure. I'd say it's a fine balance between keeping it engaging yet precise or concise. So what you want to do is put some main points in there, maybe bullet points that could draw their eye to that service. You also want to make sure that you're keeping with that journalism and the content marketing by putting a voice in there that's not too pedantic.
Okay, so something that keeps it light and flavorful.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. I found that so many different websites, whether it's roofing, plumbing, or HVAC, they have a tendency to just sell, and they don't really focus on answering the questions that consumers really have.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is it's such a huge step towards encouraging readers to stay. Now, what would you say are the most important elements for creating just a great overall pleasant reading experience?
I'd say put some background information there as best as you can, but also provide the encouraging voice to go ahead with what their goals are and to maybe contact someone if they need help with something, which is more than all right. You don't want to be robotic in the writing process either. You want to be developing something that will engage a potential customer into engaging with you, I guess.
Okay, so you're encouraging conversation as well. I find that many of the best websites out there, when you read through it, it's almost like you're talking with a person. You're not reading through this is what you should know and this is what you should do. It's almost like somebody is hearing your question and answering it directly.
Yes.
That's great.
That'd be good.
Now, let's blow up the scale of this process. We've talked about it on a per page basis. Let's cover the entire website now. You work on dozens and dozens of pages across any given site. Some of our largest websites can have upwards of 60 pages at times.
That's true.
Now, how do you work to make sure that all of those pages come together and are successful, that they have the consistency that you need and all the other elements that make an extraordinary website?
Well, that's exactly it. You want to have consistency with the formatting that you put in there, the links, even putting bullet points in there. Just make sure that overall everything is streamlined and that you have a voice that matches from page to page as well. And make sure that you put in those keywords in.
Oh, yeah. Keywords, SEO, keywords. Yeah. They're such an important part of every aspect of writing, even URL optimization and headers and whatnot. It's basically what determines whether or not your website is successful. in connecting people from search engines.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a great point. So you've answered a lot of our questions already, but let's take it back.
Sure.
And let's say that a roofer just came in at the last part of this video.
Okay.
If you wanted them, Shabs,
Yes.
to remember one thing, to have one takeaway from this entire video,
Okay.
what would you want that to be?
I would say, besides all of the technical aspects, what are you going to bring into the company? What value are you going to give to potential customers? Because there are a lot of competitors out there. So you really want to hook them in to get to your company.
Oh, that's good. That reminds me of something that we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to get people to find your company.
Yeah.
In search marketing, you actually have to convince them to choose your company over the dozens of other people in your area.
Exactly.
So that's a great point. I think we can go ahead and end there. Thank you guys again, and thank you, Shabs,
Thank you
for
for
coming
having
in
me.
and for your time.
Of
I
course.
love the flavor that you add to this stuff.
Thank you.
And as always, we're here to help with your SEO and your content writing needs. If you have any questions, you can put them down in the comments below, or you can just give us a call at Roofing Webmasters. We'll see you next time.